Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Rumbleslam for the channel, and today we're playing on one of the weirder pitches, if not the weirdest pitch available for the game, because it's set in kind of like a jungle foresty type area. There is a casino available for the game that's kind of like elves and anthropomorphic animals and actual dinosaurs and stuff like that. That's the casino they're from, so I think this is the ring that kind of goes with them and their kind of nature theme. Either way, we're going to play on it today, and I guess it's Team Blue versus Team Green this time. And no new wrestlers. I think we've seen everyone, although different teams in terms of like composition. So we'll take a look at both specifically. Both are 1 million dosh on the dot, but they're being given an extra event card just because it's fun to randomly throw one of those in. Technically they're worth 50k of the money you're supposed to spend for the million dosh, but we ignore that for the purposes of just amusement. So with that, let's take a look at the specifics from both sides and then start throwing some punches. So we've got the true Team Green over here because they are all the correct colour. We have our two star wrestlers, Gun and Goba, aka Yora. And then we have the Orc Grappler and the Orc Brawler. That's the Grappler, that's the Brawler from the starter set. Million on the dot with an event card that has not been looked at that can be used from the second round onwards whenever they like at the start of a round. Nothing much else to say. We've seen these people before. If you start damaging Gun, you've got to make sure you take him down because he gets scarily powerful. Goba, he's super defensive, doesn't do much damage, but very hard to hurt. And if he wants to take first turn, he's one of those characters, he's rolling 3 gold dice. Chances are he's gonna take first turn. And here we have Team Blue with 2 honorary members because some of their clothing is blue, but they themselves are not. We have Ice and we have a Troll as the 2 kind of star players. Trolls aren't actually classed as star players, but they're large and they're powerful and they regen health. Ice, he's very sturdy, 2 gold plus 1 for his defense, and he hits pretty hard as well, and just being adjacent to his teammates make them very, very defensive. It turns it into 2 gold plus 1, I think it is, for their defense roll if he's adjacent. Yeah, which would force them to do grapples and such, which he's also very defensive against because he's so slippery. So just to be clear though, this is the Human Grappler and this is the Human Brawler from the starter box as well. Again, 1 million dosh on the dot plus a randomised event card. With that, after a brief word from our sponsors, we'll be back with both sides set up in their chosen corners of the ring. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks. So both sides have set up across opposite opposing corners of the ring and have already selected and rolled for who will be trying to go first in round 1. Neither side particularly caring about whether they go first. This is mostly a play for turn 1 crowd pleasers that affect the entire teams. And on that note, the brawlers for both sides were selected. The Orc Brawler here rolling 2 bronze, but actually almost maxing out the possible result. He got 5. The Human Brawler rolling a silver plus a bronze. He did pretty well, but only got a 4. So he'll be going second, Orc Brawler going first, as we jump into the first round of a potential 5, depending on how it goes. So it was the standard turn 1 play of moving a little bit coyly to try and stay out of aggression range of the opposing team, and then trying to milk the crowd for a crowd pleaser, and they were having none of it. The Brawler, the Orc Brawler, moved out 4, which is his maximum movement allowance. He tried to do his crowd pleaser for 2 of his AP, and they booed him as they should. Had he have got it off, it would have given all friendly wrestlers +1 movement for the turn, which would have helped them get into better positions, but the crowd's having none of it. And the crowd is staying consistent because the Human Brawler activated. He paid 1 AP to bounce off the rope, so he was moved along 5, opting not to move any further first turn, but he did try to rile up the crowd to do his crowd pleaser, and they also booed him. They've got to at least throw punches before they're going to be cheering anything. Had he have been able to get his one off, all friendly wrestlers' rope attacks would have done +1 damage until the end of the turn, and there's a good chance of a rope attack happening turn 1. But no, sadly not. The crowd is not on his side either. Team Green activated their other basic Orc, the Grappler, who paid 1 AP to bounce off the rope for 5, and then spent 4 movement points to move where you can see him there. Also being quite coy with his placement, because whoever goes in there first is, on either side, is going to get smacked, so I'm trying to be a bit careful this time with movements. Well, we finally saw some more dice rolled as the Human Grappler activated, spent 1 of his 4 AP to bounce off the rope, which ended him up there. He moved into base-to-base contact with the Orc Brawler, and he still had 3 AP left to play with, so he started with a basic brawl attack, rolling a single silver die for that. He's better at grapples, obviously, hence the name. Rolled a goose egg, almost got through with the, well, you can't get through with 0, but almost drew, as the Orc Brawler only rolled 1 success. Then he spent his last 2 AP on his special grapple attack called a leg lock, which is 1 silver, 1 copper plus 1, so he rolled a total of 3 for that against goose eggs from the Orc Brawler, meaning it lands, it does 1 damage, and more importantly gives him -2 movement points for his next activation. Next up for Team Green was Gun, and he was in threat radius. He moved adjacent to the rope and then spent 3 of his 4 AP on his special version of a rope attack called a running leg drop. It has the rocket roll, so he would have fired forwards up to 8. He slammed, however, into the grappler, I guess with his feet, because he's kind of doing a drop kick. It's 3 silver, and he managed to get 6. Double silver on defense, though, got a 4, so it goes through for maximum damage, which in this case is 2. Leaving the human grappler on 5 health remaining, or stamina. I always call it health. The correct game term is stamina. Either way though, he still has 1 AP left, but we didn't have enough dice, so now we're going to resolve him just doing a basic brawl. Oof, and that didn't work out so well for him, rolling basically the same dice because his attack is 3 silver also, versus the 2 silver defense of the human brawler. He managed to roll a 1 on 3 silver dice versus a defense of 5, so not only did it do no damage, it was actually reversed, but a reversal of a difference of 4 just means his action ends immediately, which it was going to anyway because he's done everything he can, so not too bad there. Well, for Team Blue, it was time to make the green team play the Troll Toll, pay the Troll Toll, rather. The Troll activated, he's only got 3 movement, 3 AP. He immediately spent 1 of his AP to bounce 5, then he walked until he was adjacent to the Orc Grappler, who's kind of, it really actually looks like his fist is lined up with him right now, doesn't it? He could only really do a basic brawl because all his abilities cost his full 3 AP, so what he did instead, first, was do his Crowd Pleaser. His popularity 1, so only costs 1 AP, and the crowd is on his side. They want to see the big guy punch someone's face in. So he got it off, which means this wrestler's brawl attacks deal 2 damage until the end of his next activation. So it still applies to the next turn. And to help try and remember that, the exclamation marks are going to be kept on the table this time, because it's very, very easy to forget that it carries across to his next turn. So he did get it off, and then he just did a basic brawl. He did manage to roll a blank on a gold die, which, just as a reminder, there's only 1 blank on that die. He still managed to get it through though, 3 versus 1, so that's 2 damage, taking the Orc Grappler from his full health, which was 8 stamina, down to 6. So last activation for Team Green in turn 1 was Goba. Goba, whatever you want to say, massive 5 movement, 5 AP. He immediately paid 1 AP to climb up onto the turnbuckle from where he was, and then he spent 3 of his AP on 360 force drop, which has a range of 5, and just as a reminder about how rope attacks, or sorry, turnbuckle attacks work, as long as you reach the target in the movement listed, you can go beyond them because you're landing down after doing the attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was exactly in range, and wasn't on purpose. That was an unfortunate accident, and that meant that he could land. It has the devastating rule though, so he hits everyone adjacent to him, so he had to make sure he landed diagonal so he didn't end up clubbing his own dude. Gold plus silver, he only got 3, not a great result, but still better than the 2 that the human brawler, the human grappler managed. So it does 3 damage, leaving him on 2 stamina, so he is definitely in the danger zone for round 2. But for now though, it's over to Ice to take us to the end of the first turn. And for Ice's activation, we're going to have to do it across 2 rolls because of dice. He moved into position and then spent 2 of his 3 AP on his special rope attack called Avalanche. He charged forwards, he stopped when he reached Goba here. It's 3 silver dice against his massive defense of 3 gold, so it's not great in his favour, but he tried anyway. He did manage 4, but Goba managed 6. Blocked it, didn't reverse it at least, but didn't do any damage. It would have done 2 damage plus knockdown, I think. Knockdown would have affected anyone other than his actual target in terms of enemy wrestlers. But either way, would have done 2 damage, didn't manage it. He still has 1 AP left though, so he's going to at least throw a brawl attack at Goba, and see what he can do. 3 gold defense is just a really tough nut to crack. I guess that's what you've got to try and take him down with grapples, but Ice didn't have that option with the AP available. He did manage to get 5 this time, but 5 does not beat 7, Again, no reversal, but Goba just pushes his hands out of the way and the Glacier misses. So with Ice's activation finishing, that's the end of the first turn, with a lot of damage being done mostly to that poor human grappler. So as we start round 2, decisions have been made and dex rolls have been, well, rolled. And the human grappler had to try and go first. It was the only way he was going to get to do anything. He rolls a silver and a copper for his dex roll. He managed to get 1 success. Gun was selected for Team Green. His dex roll is a gold bronze. Sorry, no, actually, it should have been a gold silver. So he double won, I guess. Oh, wait, no, his dex is gold bronze. Sorry. But either way, he got 3. So he will be going first. If by some miracle the human grappler survives, he'll then be going first for Team Blue. But he's not in the best of positions. He's surrounded by a green tide that really just wants to club him. Well, so far so good for Team Green. We're going to have to do it in steps again, but Gun activated, looked at the best possible way to try and knock off that 2 stamina that the grappler has left, opted to use 3 of his 4 AP on Atomic Drop, which is a special grapple, 2 silver, 1 copper for 3 damage, and also an automatic crowd please if you do it. He got 5 through, going up against silver copper on the grappler. He rolled 3, so it did go through. That is enough that he's unconscious. Haven't knocked him over yet because he might be about to get removed anyway, but need to check the crowd please, so let's just roll for that now. And no, the crowd did not like that. They must have been paying attention to the news. But he still has 1 AP left because he only spent 3, and he is going to try and pin to get him out of here. And 1 pin roll later, both of them actually rolled perfect. Unfortunately, because he's unconscious, he gets just 1 copper despite being weight 2, but he did get the best possible result on that. Unfortunately for him, Gun also got the best possible result on the 2 copper dice he gets to roll for weight 2, rolling 6 to 3, meaning that the human grappler is the first one to be out of there. He is pinned to a count of 3. Now that does mean now, as Team Blue activates, they can choose whoever, because the person they originally selected is now not available. So it was the troll to the top left of your screen that activated, and he still has that buff from his crowd please last time. Oh, speaking of which, when the grappler was pinned, Gun should have got another attempt at his crowd please, so we're just going to roll for that now, and he still didn't get it. Again, they're still paying attention to the news, which is very wise. So anyway, the troll still has a buff, which means his basic brawl attacks are doing 2. He's also rolling a gold and 2 silver, so there is a fair chance at doing a beatdown for extra damage as well. So he is just using one hand to grab the orc grappler by the throat, and then using that one to just wham into him like a Looney Tunes cartoon over and over. So he's done 2 attacks so far. He can still do 1 more if he tests for the crowd being on his side to do the same thing 3 times. We'll do that live in a second. His first result was a 6 to the orc grappler's 5, so that's 2 damage right there. His second result was a 7 so far to a 1, but that's because there wasn't enough dice, so we're just going to roll and stayed a 1. That's very bad for him, because that means he lost by 6. What does that mean? Let's just double check. Beatdowns, lost by 6 is plus 2 extra damage, and dazed, meaning he just took 4, which is all he had left. So on that note, he really did just Looney Tunes, just punch, punch, punch down. That means his last AP is actually being spent on a pin attempt instead, because his target is unconscious and gets 1 copper die, which just rolled a blank. So as long as he doesn't blank out on 3 copper dice, which absolutely could happen by the way, he won't fail the pin. He almost blanked out. He didn't though. So he got 1. Both grapplers, I guess it's pick on grapplers day. Both teams have now just lost their grapplers. Oh, and almost forgot again. Successful pin means an opportunity to potentially get a crowd pleaser in effect again, so I wouldn't need to remove that. Nope, the crowd are booing. Have they only done 1 cheer so far? I think they have. So that means his crowd pleaser is out of there now, so his brawl attacks are back to doing 1 damage. So with the orc grappler out the ring, the orc brawler activated, but he had 2 less movement thanks to that debuff from round 1. So he can only move 2 squares, which he did to get adjacent to ice. And for lack of anything better, because if he tries to throw a grapple at him, 1 gold or silver that he would roll gets reduced to a copper. Defense on ice is 2 gold plus 1, which is also not great, but he has an okay brawl at 2 silver, 1 copper, so he went with that and did 2 of those. His first roll being a 5, going up against a 5 with the +1, and his second roll being a 5, going up against an 8. So not enough for a reversal in either case, but no damage through. Now he is able to attack a potential 2 more times, but he's going to at least try and do it 1 more time. Is the crowd on his side? No, they are not, so never mind. He will just be ending his activation right there. A very simple activation with ice followed, because he hasn't got a lot of AP, he can basically do one thing a turn. He spent all 3 of his AP to do Cold Snap, his unique grapple attack, adjacent to, or because he was adjacent to the brawler, he opted to do it on him, since Goba is hard to do anything to. It's 2 silver, simple enough, and he did manage to almost get a perfect on that, getting 5 versus just 1 success on the grappler. So not only that, it was a beatdown for +1 damage. Its base damage was 2, so he took 3 damage, but also -2 AP counters, -2 MP counters, and also knocked down. So if he does even get another turn, the brawler is going to be 2 movement, 2 AP next time he activates, and he has to spend 1 of those AP to stand up. So really he's 2 movement, 1 AP, so doesn't really do, well, I was going to say it doesn't do a lot of damage, but thanks to the beatdown it kind of did. It's not got a super high chance of landing with only 2 silver, but he managed it, and that's his entire turn done. So last activation for Team Green in turn 2, and it was a bit of a weird one. So it was just Goba, and he burned through all his AP basically. He did 2 there is no tries, pick any enemy wrestler and immediately move them up to 3 squares in any direction. So he sent Ice over there towards the ring edge, and he sent the Troll up into the corner to try and force them out of distance to do anything to the Orc Brawler. That left him with 1 AP. He is attempting to do his crowd please with that, because he has popularity 1. We'll cover what he does if he gets it, and he does. I guess the mind controlling the enemy team is what the crowd was looking for. Crowd please, immediately remove all -AP, MP, bleeding and knockdown counters from all friendly wrestlers. So would you look at that? He's no longer debuffed and he is on his feet. Now he still does only have 4 stamina remaining, but Goba basically used up his entire turn there just to try and ensure his survival. So now it is over to the human brawler to end the round. So we're not quite done with the human brawler's turn, but we have to do it in steps. He first of all spent on his 1 AP on his crowd please, his popularity 1 for whatever reason. He got it, which means his rope attacks do +1 damage. He moved 4 to get adjacent to gun, and then spent 2 AP on his unique rope attack, a clothesline, swung into gun who was facing the other way, 2 silver, 1 copper, and despite not rolling well on the silver dice, that 3 on the copper was actually enough against the gold, rolling a blank again, and just a 2 on the silver there for Gun's defense roll. So he did hit. It does 1 damage base because of the crowd please. It actually did 2 damage to him, and it knocks him down. Now he has 1 AP left, which means he does have the option of just like throwing a punch at Gun with a silver copper +1, or he could attempt to pin him. He's not full health, but he would get 1 bonus. It would be 3 copper versus 2 copper. Going to need to think for a second whether or not that's worth the risk. Well, I wish I'd just kept rolling and did the roll on camera once the decision had been made to do the pin. 2 dice base for Gun +1 because he has more than half his stamina but not all his stamina remaining, and he managed to roll nothing on every copper die. It still nearly was fine because the human brawler is only rolling 2 for weight 2. He got a single success, but in this situation that is enough. So he actually did pin Gun to a count of 3, and the big man himself is out there. He didn't even hit the threshold for when he starts hulking out to start doing like all that extra damage on his attacks. So do the crowd enjoy what they just saw? They do. So his crowd pleaser kicks in, which is what he already did, and it doesn't stack, so never mind. Is it till the end of his next activation? +1 damage. Yeah, until the end. So until his next turn, actually, it applies to all friendly wrestlers. So it might matter for the turn after this. So let's just put that there. But after that ridiculous result, that takes us to the end of the second round. Yeah. So we'll see what's happening in the third round. I think at least one side's going to be gambling on having a good event card, because keep in mind, event cards can be bad. Here we are at the top of the third of a potential 5 rounds, although it's not looking good for Team Green. Both sides are going to use their event cards, we'll cover that in a second. Dex rolls though, the Troll was selected for Team Blue, rolling a single copper, he got 1 result. And Team Green picked the I win or I want to go first button and went with Goba, who rolls 3 gold, so he got 10. So yes, he will be activating first. But let's go for Team Green's event card first. I have not looked at these yet, so let's see if it's a good, bad or indifferent. This is Temporal Vortex. Immediately activate 1 friendly wrestler. This wrestler has an extra activation. After it has finished being activated, roll for initiative as normal. This wrestler may be activated again this round and may even attempt to take the initiative. Oops, so you're supposed to reveal these before doing the roll, but nevertheless there's only 2 wrestlers to pick from anyway. So one of them is getting a free turn to start this round, and it doesn't count as their activation for the round. That is really good. For Team Blue, their event card that they've chosen also to activate is called Coup de Grace. Pick a friendly wrestler. The next time this wrestler makes a successful attack against a KO'd opponent, instead of the regular effect, remove the enemy wrestler from the game. This is Rumbleslam, just snapping their neck on the floor, I guess. Well, the Troll is being selected for that since he has the best attack of everyone left. So that'll just sit to the side there, as will this. And yeah, so it's going to be a double green activations, back-to-back activations to get the round off. So Goba's first activation of 2, he immediately used There Is No Try for 2 AP to move Ice further down into the corner there. He moved his 5 to the rope here and then spent 2 on Do It, his jump and rocket attack, into the back of the human brawler. 3 silver versus 2 silver, and he rolled a massive 8 versus 3, which means he also got a beat down by 5 for +1 damage and shove 2. So he's reeling from the back of the blow, and that's 2 damage, which is the first damage he's taken, to be fair, leaving him on 5 stamina. Now, he has some unused AP, but he is just ending that activation there and starting a new one, probably by immediately doing that same attack again by moving back onto the rope. As actual activation didn't work out as well, he did the Do It attack off the rope again, as just explained, this time getting 5, but 5 was blocked by the brawler, so no additional effects there. He doesn't want to brawl because he's only rolling 2 copper for his brawl. He is going to spend 2 AP, however, on There Is No Try to move them up to 3 squares, simply to move the human brawler away from being adjacent to him, to force him to move next to him if he wants to brawl. But that's all he can do, and that is that Temporal Vortex card now out of play. Well, thanks to being moved up into the corner, it made it a little awkward for the Troll to just get in there and do some brawl attacks. So instead he moved along and then paid all 3 of his AP for his unique rope attack, Blue Thunder, 1 gold, 1 silver, 1 copper, bouncing off for up to 5 spaces, ramming into the back of the Orc Grappler, getting 5 to the Orc Grappler's 2. It does a base damage of 3, so that is leaving the Orc Brawler on 1 stamina. It also has shove 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It almost, if they were all 1 step down when he initiated that, if we just pull back a little bit, it would have bounced the Orc off the ropes and right back into him for an attack he's allowed to do on him, because it's a forced bounce off the rope. It would have been so cool, but unfortunately they were just 1 too high because he stops just before hitting the rope. It would only be if he would go beyond it, I believe, that it triggers the bounce. Either way though, he's now down there. He's not knocked down or anything, but he does have 1 stamina left. He is about to activate though, so he gets to do something before somebody's going to try and pin him. Well, sadly there wasn't much for the brawler to do, because if he paid to bounce off the ropes he would come to a stop in front of the Troll. He wouldn't actually hit the Troll because of being exactly 5 away. So he moved adjacent to Ice and just tried to smack him a couple of times. His attack stat isn't bad. At 2 silver, 1 bronze, his first result being 6. 2 gold plus 1, sorry, on the defense on Ice. So the first hit did go through for 1 damage of his 12 health. And the second roll was 2 up against 4, so failure to do any damage there, but also not a reversal. He is going to attempt to do another 1 at least, so he has to see if the crowd is on his side, and they are, so we might as well just roll that out now then. We'll just roll these. He's attacking again. He got 5, that was a 2, I knocked it when I was moving the dice. So he got 5 going up against, oh, only 1, so he actually beat him by a difference of 4, so he actually did 2 damage there, which isn't terrible. So that's a total of 3 damage to Ice, and he's going to try and spend his last AP to do a 4th one, which means he has to roll 2 crowd dice and not get a boo. Unfortunately he did, so the last AP is wasted. Well, that was pretty inevitable, as Ice activated did a basic brawl attack, which is the 3 silver dice up here, getting 4 versus 3 on the defense there, which would have been enough to knock him out. Then also just rolled out the pin attempt, which is 3 because his weight 3 versus 1 for being unconscious. 0 versus 4 means that the brawler is out of there. And does the crowd pleaser go off for the... yes, it does. For the pin, what is Ice's crowd pleaser again? Each enemy wrestler gains 1 minus move counter. Not super important, but it's something. And that means with him being taken out, it's... oh, we're staying with Team Blue then, with the human brawler activating. Well, they just need to try and get a near invincible little gremlin out of the ring, so how hard is that? The human brawler moved against the rope. He spent 2 of his 4 AP on a clothesline, swinging in for 2 silver, 1 copper, getting a massive 7, but that doesn't beat 10. So that did nothing. Also not a reversal though, because it's only a difference of 3. But then he did 2 basic brawl attacks, already rolled those out, a 5 and then a 5 for consistency. But he gets to defend against both of these, so his first defense roll actually is only a 3. So it did go through just as basic damage, 1 damage. So that's not too bad. He doesn't have a lot of health, that's his downside. And then the second roll, that's a 6 versus 5, so no damage. So all that, he did 1, but Goba only has 1, 2, 3, 4. He only has 5 health. Stamina, sorry. So now he has 4 left. So it's not impossible, you just have to beat that 3 gold. That does take us to the end of the 3rd round though. So top of the 4th round might end up being the last round unless Goba goes full Jedi Master. Obviously he's rolling his dex and he has the I win amount of dex, the 3 gold, so he rolled a casual 8. The troll was selected and he rolled well for what he gets to roll. Doesn't beat 8 though, so it will be Goba taking his potentially last activation. He is reduced movement by 1, but that doesn't really matter for him. He still has 4 and 5 AP to play with. Let's see what he can do. Well, you know, he actually did pretty well. His 4 movement, reduced down from 5, was enough to get to the corner. Paid 1 of his 5 AP to climb the turnbuckle. Paid 3 to do 360 force drop from there. Range 5. Smacked into the human brawler's head for a gold plus a silver. Managed to roll 7 versus 3. So it got through for 3 damage base. Plus 1 for beating by 4. So leaving him on 1 stamina. Decided it was worth the risk to do a basic brawl attack to try and take off that last stamina, and didn't manage it. Rolled blank on his 2 basic copper attack dice. Didn't get reversed though, but did get fully blocked. So of course the troll activated. His 3 movement was enough to get adjacent diagonally to Goba here. Came over to meet him and opted to spend all 3 of his AP on his grapple, since Goba's grapple defense is garbage. So he did a spinning spine buster. 3 silver, managed to get 5, 6, 7 on that, to 0 for the 2 copper he rolls for grapple defense because he's little. And that means it goes through not only for the 1 damage base, but a difference of 7 for a beatdown, for 2 extra damage, so that's 3, leaving him on 1 stamina remaining, and also knockdown. So he's been knocked down. It also does dazed. I don't think at this point dazed is going to matter, but that's the one where you roll the crowd die, isn't it? It's the one we always forget. Dazed. Dazed, yes, you roll the crowd die and apply the effect as per. Abu is the wrestler, receives -1 AP and -1 MP. I don't think it's going to matter, so no real need to track that, because anybody can now just try and pin him really, or they can knock off that 1 last stamina. Now if he'd had any AP left, he doesn't, but if he did, he could have tried to do that coup de grace, because it is not limited to the round, so he could have just tried to kill him. But he's not KO'd yet, so he can't. But either way, Ice and the grappler, they get to try. The brawler gets to try. So the troll is totally in the way, but that, as they say, is all she wrote. So let's just move them out of the way to see what happened. The brawler activated and did a basic brawl attack into Goba, because if you're on the ground knocked down, you count as defense 0. So no fear from the triple gold. So that was just nothing versus 2 that did the 1 last damage, knocking Goba out. He then attempted a pin, and 3 beats 2, so Goba is out of there, and that does mean it is a Team Blue almost flawless victory. So there we have it. Here are your surviving winners today. The grappler is in the back with crushing wounds from being pinned. Was it Gunn that pinned him? Can't quite remember now. Either way, we have our 3 survivors of Blue Team, and despite them being the first to lose someone, I think, they managed to pull it back and just decimate. They got great results when they needed them, and Gobba's triple gold defense, it's really hard to get around, but you can get around it, and that was proof of it right there. So that is going to conclude another Rumbleslam match for the channel. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. If you would like to show your support to help support the content we produce for the channel, please do consider becoming a channel member or pressing the thanks button. It is all reinvested in the channel, and channel members also get early access to certain content. You could also check out the channel sponsor. You saw a little advertisement for them at the start of the video. You can click through via the affiliate link below to pick up something for yourself, including Rumbleslam stuff. They have some of it. And if you do that via that link, I will be compensated based on what you spend, so I would appreciate that as well. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much, and see you next time for some more punching each other in the ring with Rumbleslam. Ta-ta for now.